Hey folks, welcome to the Political Blowback podcast. My name is Steve Kostick. I'm your host for the next several minutes, and so glad you could join us. We're going to talk a little bit today about Donald Trump, and specifically the two faces of Donald Trump, or so it would appear. You can be the judge. I'm sure many of you have been observing him over time, over the past, say, 8 to 10 years. And perhaps you've perceived an inconsistency or two in terms of his narratives and how he changes the narratives very, very quickly. I'm going to speak specifically to some of the recent developments that have occurred with respect to Donald Trump. On May the 18th, on his Instagram, he released this statement. It said, "Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis." Specifically, he's talking about cancer. "And we extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery." Sounds quite respectful and sounds quite, from a human perspective, it sounds like it was the right thing to do. Yahoo.com, there's a story that says Trump says he doesn't have sympathy for vicious Biden after his cancer diagnosis. There's something quite a bit amiss there. It raises questions. You start to say, okay, is this person mentally fit to be changing the narrative on such a topic that would really not benefit him politically at all? As a matter of fact, it makes him look quite bad. And then here's another one from RT. President Trump, RT, of course, is Russia Today. President Trump warns Moscow, claiming Russia avoided really bad consequences only thanks to him. And Putin doesn't realize he's playing with fire. Trump's message leaves little room for misinterpretation until he posts the opposite tomorrow morning. So even the country that is, many people believe that Donald Trump has an association with Vladimir Putin that sort of transcends into the area of friendship. But even Russia Today is saying, no, he's just going to change his mind. I'm going to offer you this. I have observed that he does change his mind and does change his opinion quite rapidly. And seemingly, it appears that he could flip-flop on the same subject, 4 or 5 times in the course of like 2 weeks. I think that's done by design. Let me explain. I think what Donald Trump does when he flips these narratives, when he changes his mind, which he's done a great deal with tariffs. I mean, the poor business community in the United States of America and abroad is just beside themselves. They don't know which end is up. They don't know how to make a budget anymore. They don't know how to plan for pragmatism in the United States marketplace, because everything is so disruptive and so changeable. I think what happens is that over time, and this is where the danger is, because he changes his mind so frequently, people start to tune him out. Because, the prevailing sentiment may sort of come around to the point where people will say, you know what? I know what he just said, but I'm not putting any credence in it at all, because, I've brought myself to a point where observing all this changeability and the narratives just keep changing, and there's no terra firma with him. I think that's how he got the name, the Taco President, right? Because it kept changing his mind on tariffs, and will always sort of back down. So once people become anesthetized and start to tune him out, that's where the most dangerous area and period of time will be. Because once he can get people accustomed to just saying, oh, yeah, it's just Donald, whatever, just ignore it, that's when perhaps something that might be shockingly egregious may surface, and people are in the mindset of, it's just him, don't pay any attention to that. That's very dangerous. I'm also reminded of a recent Truth Social post by Donald Trump. And in this post, he says, I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy. He is needlessly killing a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine, and for no reason whatsoever. I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it, and maybe that's proving to be right. But if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. This is a war that would have never started if I was president. This is Zelensky's, Putin's, and Biden's war, not Trump's. I am only helping to put out the big ugly fires that have been started through gross incompetence and hatred. I'm very puzzled about the way he starts out this social media post. I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He is needlessly killing a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about soldiers. Mr. Trump, Vladimir Putin has been mercilessly killing civilians inside of Ukraine for the past 3.5 years. Why is it that you're the only one that didn't get the memo? That would be a fair question. He didn't just take a pill and become crazy. We're talking about, a 3.5-year brutal invasion of a sovereign country. And by virtue of this tweet or Truth Social post, it's like Donald Trump woke up 3.5 years into the conflict and has suddenly come to the realization that Vladimir Putin has gone absolutely crazy, and that this is a recent invention, that he's been mercilessly killing innocent civilians, to include women and children in Ukraine. That's very concerning to me. You would think that if he wanted to withdraw a level of financial support to Ukraine, as a president, it would well be within his scope of his office to do that. But as this Truth Social post continues, you start to see that he starts to disparage Vladimir Zelensky. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. What is Donald Trump talking about? It should be mandatory for Donald Trump, who makes these grandiose statements, to back it up with something specific. Because I have never heard one thing out of Vladimir Zelensky's lips that would somehow suggest that he's saying things to cause problems. Look, Trumpo, his country has been brutally invaded by Vladimir Putin, your supposed friend, the one that you said, I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia. Do you think we're all stupid? I'd just like to pose that question. Because it seems like you're playing a little bit both sides. And as a politician, that politicians, sometimes they talk out of this side of their mouth, sometimes they talk out of that side of their mouth. But very seldom are they stupid enough to make it obvious. So, I think you should offer an explanation here. Putin has gone crazy? Are you talking about the same Putin who, after Assad of Syria had performed brutal, heinous crimes against his own people inside of Syria? Vladimir Putin was standing there when he was finally deposed. He was standing there and saying, come to Papa. We'll give you refugee inside of Russia. You're harboring a heinous, brutal dictator, Mr. Putin, and Mr. Trump, by virtue of his own social media post, is wearing it like it's some kind of badge of honor. I've always had a good relationship with Vladimir Putin. Good for you. Right? It's way overdue for things to get real inside the White House, because everything that I see that they're doing, they're playing games. And this game with Russia has been going on for a long, long time. Robert Mueller, with the Mueller report, he came out and he said that this report does not exonerate the president from wrongdoing. Followed by, a sitting president cannot be indicted. It was also referenced that if this report did exonerate the president, we would tell you. Okay? Robert Mueller did the very best he could at saying to the American people, look, folks, there's a problem here. And my hands are tied. I can't do anything about the problem. And without saying the words, his inference was, but you can when you go to the polls. And Lord knows, people bought the baloney, because now we're in the thick of two-face season. Going to leave it there for today, folks. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this little muse. I'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts on the relationship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin and Russia. And please put it in the comments. Love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you have yourself a great day.